Hi, my name is Julian Bueno, and today for my cultural artifact speech, I'm going to talk about the Mexican culture. More specifically, I'm going into depth about the food. Food is more than food in our culture. It is a way to bond with our family and friends and overall enjoy life. Some families even have recipes that are hundreds and hundreds of years old. These recipes are brought down from generation to generation for the family and friends to enjoy. There are many dishes to be made in the Mexican culture, but for the most part, there are two main staples in Mexican food, and those two main staples are beans and tortillas. In almost every plate, you're going to have one of the two, or maybe you even have both. And here, I have the beans, and then secondly, I also have the tortillas. These right here are corn tortillas. They're also more than just corn tortillas. There's also flour tortillas, but for the most part, for tacos and stuff like that, we use corn tortillas. One interesting fact about the tortilla is that tortillas were used as utensils in Mexico. As a kid, my grandma used tortillas to grab her food, since there was no utensils such as forks and spoons. Another thing about Mexican food is we like spices in our food. Salsas or chilies by themselves, you name it, we will eat it. If the food already has spices in them, we still add more spice into it. And right here I have a salsa right here, and this is a green salsa. There's also many different types of salsas. For example, there's a red salsa, but in my opinion, the best salsa is the green salsa. And even though there's many spices already added onto the food, we add more just because we like the intenseness of the spice. And for part 2, I'm going to go into depth about how food brings us together and how much of a bond the food can bring us. It is more than just food in our culture. Thank you. Hello, my name is Julian Bueno, and this is part 2 to my cultural artifact speech. In part 1, I talked about how the food is just more than food. It brings us together, and we love to spend time together and enjoy the good food. I also talked about how there are two main staples in Mexican food, and those two main staples are beans and tortillas. I also talked about how much we like spice in the cultures. Even if the food is already spiced up, we like to add more spice or sometimes just eat the chili itself. It is very weird, but we just like it. So in this part of the speech, I'm going to break down about how the food brings us together. So based on personal experience and also observing other Mexican families and also other Latino families, food brings the family together. Usually on the weekends, many would gather at some relative's home and overall have a big barbecue. And with those big barbecues come many relatives such as aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, cousins, grandkids, you name it, everyone is there. Everyone is there enjoying the food and overall having a good time. And for the most part, there are no bad incidents that happen. Food overall just makes us enjoy life, and we like to just talk and sit. It's more than just talking, sitting, and eating though as well. There's also dancing as well with music playing. There's also many other things such as putting on a movie or just talking about life experiences. Food overall just brings many different conversation topics. Hello, this is part 3 of the cultural artifact speech. Part 2, I was talking about how the food brought us together, and for part 3, I would like to talk about one more added thing. So I went over in part 1 about there are two main staples such as the beans and also the tortilla, but there's also one thing that I have missing, and that is the rice. I currently do not have rice in my house, but rice is also another main staple in Mexican culture, and I also know that rice is a very big staple worldwide. It's not just the Mexican culture that rice is a main staple. Rice is also in pretty much almost any plate. In any plate, you'll have one of the three for sure, because rice is such a filler that it's just always going to be in a plate, and it's always been a staple in the Mexican culture for many years. And that is one thing I wanted to bring up before I ended this presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.